So where does CQC fit in with this? Well, a valid DBS is part of Schedule 3 of CQC regulations, and the CQC requires that all providers to carry out a new search on all new employees. However, if the applicant already has a certificate that is less than 3 months old and is from a similar care setting and a similar role then that certificate is actually transferable. So again, if you've got someone who's coming to you for employment, they've left their previous job because they didn't like it for whatever reason, but they're only there for a short space of time, providing it's the same job, then that certificate should be transferable. As I say, we would recommend that this scenario is only used to get someone in post quickly and you still carry out a new search. You don't know whether that person actually left under a cloud. Although it's unlikely that would show on the DBS in such a short space of time, I think again, just to protect your own back. But as I say, you can use certificates if they're less than 3 months old. You must keep a record of the DBS results. Due to GDPR regulations, most personal information is wiped off the DBS system after 6 months. We won't be able to retrieve it for you. If after 6 months you're saying, oh, have you still got the details? It will have gone, apart from some very basic details. However, you cannot keep a copy of the DBS certificate itself without the express consent of the applicant, and you must never hold the original. The original belongs to the actual applicant, even if you've paid for it. We recommend recording the information of the DBS certificate within your HR files, include the certificate number, the date it was issued, and any disclosure information on there, because you'll need that if you use the DBS update service, which I'll come on to in a bit. Contrary to popular belief, a DBS never expires. However, the older the DBS certificate, the more out of date the information is. The exception is the update service, which again, I'll mention in a bit. It's best practice to renew your employees' DBSs at least every 3 years. This is what CQC actually recommend. However, if you are commissioned by a local authority, it is worth checking what their contract actually says, because the odd local authority, none of our local authorities do this, but if you work outside the West Midlands, it might be worth checking. Some do say you need to do it yearly. Most of our local authorities locally follow the CQC advice, and they also say contractually they want to see that you've done your DBSs every 3 years. The DBS update service is a subscription service that an individual can subscribe to when a new search completes. The DBS will actually continue to update the search. So this means the employer can actually check online using the details on the original certificates, which is why you need to keep a note of it. Should your employee lose the actual original, which happens all the time, as we know, to see if they are still current. So i.e. the disclosure information has not changed from the original that was printed on the certificate. If it says still current, you can note the records that you've checked it and the result was still current. If it says it is not, it will not tell you what has changed. What you will need to do is do a new search. You'll have to carry out the new search. That certificate will go to the employees, and you'll then have to ask the employee to bring the certificate in to see what has actually changed since the original certificate was done. The update service is always tied to one certificate. So if you do a new search, it will not automatically transfer the update service subscription to the new certificate. It will always stay on whatever certificate was originally used for the sign up. So it might be that the employee needs to enroll again.